I know it is hard. Sometimes it's so hard. I have a lot of friends that tell me all the time, I'm only doing this because you told me to, which you should. If somebody tells you to do it, I feel like you should do it. At least try it once.
Welcome to She Leads. I'm your host, Thea Curry-Fuson, and I'm so glad that you joined in. She Leads is a place where we can have honest conversations about leadership, faith, and relationships. And I'm so glad you decided to come and be a part of the conversation today. I welcome your comments and feedback, and so you can send those to sheleadscomments@gmail.com. And today I wanted to read a comment we received from Whitney. She said, I love the relationships between you and your guest. But what I really love is to hear what people are doing, how they are leading, how they are making differences in their communities. Like Young Life and Sir House, it feels like all bad news everywhere. So I love hearing what people are doing that's positive. Thank you for your comment, Whitney, and thank you for those women who are out there doing something in the world. I never thought that was going to be an aspect of this podcast, but I'm so happy to share women's journeys and how they are making a difference in our world today. And that continues today with my guest, Meagan Jones. She is a local business owner. She's a mom. She's a servant leader, and she's agreed to come back today. Introduce yourself, Meagan, and tell us also how we could get in touch with you, how people can find you.
So my name is Meagan Jones. I own Your Boutique Shop here in Pearland. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and then you could also just Google on the internet.
Yeah, and pop by and see you at the shop.
Pop by and see me.
Sounds great.
Yes.
If you're not going to cut the bucket.
Put into I don't even know. Oh, God.
So our last episode was about Meagan's journey into business ownership and how she's, finding beauty, supporting and empowering women to find their beauty today. Today I want to talk about your leadership in MOPS. So first, just tell me, what is MOPS?
Oh, MOPS is a lifesaver. So I got involved in MOPS when my oldest was probably like 2-ish, and then my youngest, or maybe she was like 3. I can't remember. But she was like 3 or so, and then my youngest was like just starting to walk, so maybe like he was probably like 1. But a friend of mine was in MOPS, and I was like, oh, this looks super fun. They like meet twice a month. We do play dates. We have mom's night out. And I was just like, well, gosh, that sounds amazing. We were not new to Pearland, but we were still kind of new to Pearland. We'd only lived for a few years, and I was like, oh, I want to try that out. So I joined. Loved it, did it for like 2 years, and then I started going to the church that it meets at First United Methodist. And so yeah, like I started going, and then like 2 years go by, and the leadership that was running MOPS decided they were going to step down and asked if I would take over. Mind you, that was 7 years ago. So here we are. I'm still leading MOPS, and I love it.
Yeah. What did you think when they came and asked you?
Oh, I told them no at first, and I said I'd need to pray on that and think on that. So like almost 2 months went by, and they were finally like, okay, well, we need to know. And I was just like, gosh, y'all are pushy. But I ended up saying yes, and I do not regret any of it. I've had a wonderful time, and I love, 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 love. And I suggest to anybody, because you can find, it's Mothers of Preschoolers is what it's called, MOPS. That's what it stands for. But I'm always like, you're a mom your whole life. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to come to this, no matter what age. We have grandmas, we have moms with older kids, moms with little kids. But, yeah, I really enjoy it. And I always tell any mom that wherever you are, you should find a MOPS group, because they are really actually all over the world. Like, it's international, so they're everywhere. You could find a group.
Yeah. And so you talked about your hesitancy toward leadership. Why do you think you said yes to this opportunity? What is it about the MOPS space that made you say yes?
I don't know. I guess I just wanted other moms to feel welcome and loved just like I did. So I felt like maybe I could do this for a few years and then hand it off to somebody else that that didn't happen. And I continued to do it for a whole 7 years. Because usually most MOPS groups, the coordinators of the groups usually do about like 2 years. But it was just really hard to find somebody to want to take that over. A lot of people always say, who's going to fill your footsteps, Meagan? Like, nobody's going to want to do that. So, but I finally found somebody to take over the mornings for me this next year, which I'm so excited about because with the store and everything, it's just been a little bit harder. Mondays are like my only day off, and that's the day we meet. So I would be doing like morning mops and I'd be doing night mops, and it was just a lot to handle. I mean, it wasn't a lot, but it was just too much, and it was ready for me to hand it over to somebody else. So I am going to still be doing the evenings. I'm just not going to be doing morning mops anymore.
And what is your role in the leader of MOPS? Like as the primary coordinator, what does that mean? What do you have to do?
We do everything. I do. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I do. We like meet in June. Basically, we plan the whole year. I have to like get speakers, discuss make what we're gonna discuss that day, and then we also do events like the Mom's Night Outs. We have to put that together. We also do crafting sometimes because everybody loves to craft. So sometimes we have to figure out what you're going to do. Yeah. I do have a leadership team, and they're very, very helpful, and they're all super sweet, but sometimes I'm very overbearing and like a control freak. Sometimes I just kind of end up doing it myself, which is annoying, but it is what it is.
You said speakers. What kind of speakers do you have?
We have all kinds of speakers. It just depends on like the topic we are discussing. Like we've had sex therapists come. We've had doctors. They will talk about like mental illness, or not mental, like mental or no, like depression and things like that, anxiety and postpartum. And then we have fun speakers come. Like we've had people come to like show us how to decorate cookies and like fun stuff like that. Just depends on what we're talking about.
And so my understanding of MOPS is it's this designated space. It's a bi-monthly meeting for about 2 hours, hour and a half, where there's a warm breakfast or dinner is provided. Childcare is taken care of typically.
Because every mom wants to not be able to have their kid while they're trying to have some mom time. Right. That's basically what it is. It's us meeting, being together, and, loving on each other.
And most often, so just like at our church and at other churches too, that the church will step up and offer that childcare, and so that there's a safe place with trained professionals
100%.
That these moms can at least build a relationship with to begin to trust. I know that I've seen also if those brand new babies or just the baby isn't ready to go yet, the 1-year-old, then mom just holds on to him or her, and that's fine too.
100%.
And so they have these, regular meetings. Relationships are built at the table. There's kind of a leader who says, we're a table, we're a tribe. These are your 4 women who you can count on and you can call, and you have kind of those friendships that can start to be built. And then, like you mentioned, you have a speaker or an activity. So you're doing something, but what I have seen, it's really just the relationships.
Yes, I have made some lifelong friends being in MOPS. A few of my mom friends that I hang out with all the time, I've known for the whole time I've been in MOPS. And that's because I feel like as a mom, you need friendship. You can't just not have friends or you're not going to make it. Like being a mom is really hard. So
yeah,
we're not going to cry. Being a mom is so hard. I had really bad postpartum after my second. So with getting involved with MOPS made everything a little bit easier. And I made some really good friends and got out of the house, and that was a saving grace. So
yeah. And I'm wondering if it wasn't that your experience that led you to say yes for 7 years to offer that space.
I think so, because it was a real big struggle. We miscarried before my second too, so that was another big thing, and knowing that I wasn't the only one, or it was okay and there was nothing wrong with me, and because I had a few other moms in my group too. We've even had people come and talk about that. Sometimes we do a TN testimony where everybody talks about their life or how they got there, with Jesus and all of those things. And it's just a lot and loving, and I love it. And I would suggest anybody to find, it doesn't even have to be a mom's group, just find a mom's group and find you some friends. Like, don't think that you're doing it all alone.
Yeah. Something I've also really enjoyed about MOPS is like what you just mentioned is that it's not it's not in your face religious. Like there's not a sermon.
Yeah.
Every time you meet,
you don't do Bible study or
you don't read the Bible every time, right? There, but what I have witnessed is God's grace just weaved in there and just showing up, because that's what God is going to do. And I'm wondering, from your seat, where have you seen God just kind of show up in maybe unexpected ways amidst these MOPS groups?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Maybe leaning towards like my postpartum, like it just helped me realize that we are not alone in this, and that it is okay to be sad, and it is okay to tell people you're sad, and nobody's going to judge you.
Well, and you mentioned tea and testimony, and those times where your people maybe get even more vulnerable.
Yes, like we've had some girls come and they struggled and talked about their childhood traumas, and they were sexually assaulted or things like that. And so I feel like sometimes it just gives them a chance to like put it all out there and make them feel better, and knowing that they can be comfortable talking about that in front of us, and knowing that we're all going to love them no matter what.
Yeah. And that they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I hear a lot too, is that moms, especially of super young children, just feel very alone.
They do.
And what they're experiencing is, they're the only ones, because they're the only ones in their home that are dealing with what they're dealing with. And so creating this space just to say, you're not alone. We've all been there. We're experiencing things, and even beyond motherhood. I'll share a little bit of my experience with moms. I don't know if I ever even have shared this with you, but when we had a second campus out in Manville, we started a MOPS group, and all the women on staff were going to do it. And so I'm not raising any young children. I'm a stepmom, and my kids were probably, they were out of the house already at this point. And so there was a part of me that felt like, well, that, I can't be a part of MOPS. But I remember I asked my boss, and he was like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. I was like, no, but can I? Because I'm going to be the only woman not a part of this really great thing. And what my favorite thing about it was we were reaching those who weren't coming to our services. We were reaching the community. And what I felt like we were doing is we were filling a real need. Yeah. And so I wanted to be a part of it. I was the director of family and children ministry. I felt like that was a role that plugged in. And so I actually sat at the tables, every month or every twice a month. And in that time, just getting to know these women and how vulnerable and real they would be, and just kind of getting to watch their journey as they struggled with things, as they embraced new realities. It was really eye-opening. And then this group of women, we started with them to go on a mission trip to Ukraine.
I remember that. Yeah.
And our goal was to go and teach these women at a Ukrainian church how to start a MOPS. Yeah. And that just really also fed me, because I'm all about empowering and encouraging, and I want to teach people, and I want to see them take leadership as well. And so not only did I get to spend a year with some local moms who were not coming to our church, but had stories to tell, and God was at work in unique ways, but then we also got to go overseas to a whole other country. And what was so interesting? Those moms had a lot of the same things in common. It wasn't so wild. It wasn't like, it didn't feel like a whole other country. Yeah. The things that those women were dealing with, and the things that they were craving, that community and connection was exactly the same. And it was one of those moments where I felt like God just really showed, like, I am who I'm always going to be. Yeah. And my heart is after people, and people are looking for connection and relationship. And that's why MOPS still means so much to me today. And why I want to do everything I can to promote it, share it,
and I love support that you do that, because when I first started doing MOPS, I didn't really feel like I got a lot of support from our church, just in general. And they always were like, I don't understand why we're doing this, and like things like that. And it was just a big struggle. And in the last few years, and I've been feeling that, and I'm very, very thankful that people are starting to understand that it is very needed, and it is something that I think is wonderful, and I don't think should ever go away, no matter if I'm there or not.
Yeah.
So
we were talking before about this idea, about John Wesley, the founder of Methodist. ways, and how he was willing to go and preach outdoors where the people are. Yeah. And I feel like MOPS is one of those places where we're going where the people are, where they are in need, and we're not requiring or upset that they're not coming to our party we throw every Sunday, but instead we're saying that we're going to come and meet you right where you are. And there have been women, even from your most recent group, who have said, I don't come on Sunday, but this is my church home, and when I need a pastor, I'm calling Pastor Thea because I know her and she's going to answer and she's going to listen. And I'm happy to be that. I'm happy to say, hey, if you need a pastor, I'm here. I count you in my flock, and you're welcome to call me. And that the hope.
I love that about you.
And thank you.
You are okay. You don't have to come and watch me every Sunday.
Come on. Yeah. That's what, we can have a whole other conversation about that. But yeah, I think that's part of my call is that, I'm a pastor to this worshiping community, but I'm a pastor to this community. Yeah. And honestly too, as if not the only one of very few female pastors in Pearland, I know that I have an opportunity to connect and relate to women, even though I've never birthed a child. I've never raised
You're a mom.
Young children. Right. But and I'll tell you this, I have a mom.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that, and I think sometimes too, the best thing I can do is just listen.
Yeah. Well,
just be there.
Sometimes I think that's what most people need anyway, is just an ear.
Yeah.
So sometimes they don't really need advice. They just want you to listen to them vent for a little while.
Yeah. And just that they have a safe place to do that. The energy in the room at the MOPS at First Methodist Pearland is so, it's just real. It just feels real. No one is like closed off. And your morning group is a little calmer.
It is.
It's 9:30. They're a little more tired. The evening, it's a party.
Girl.
But it's real.
And I love my morning MOPS. But my evening MOPS, I started the evening MOPS probably like 3 years ago, I guess you could say, because I just knew that the morning MOPS is good, but I had a lot of friends that work or not stay-at-home moms, and they're like, well, why isn't there like a group for like us? And I was like, oh, well, okay, I'll make one then. This is what we're doing, because I knew that one day I might not be home either. And I enjoy the evening. They're crazy. They're like, so I guess maybe because they're like coming home and they're like, woo, I don't know, but they're so much fun. But I love my mornings too, because it's like chill, laid back. We can come in our pajamas and nobody cares.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can just feel that this is a safe place.
Yeah. Everybody, I feel like I have not had really, not lately, maybe in the past. We have had in the past somebody mention that it was kind of cliquey, and I had to talk to some people and be like, well, you don't need to be cliquey. This is in fourth grade. But other than that, like I've always had really good feedback of everybody saying everybody's so welcoming and loving, and so I like that. Yeah.
So as you pass the torch and you let go of half of your leadership, what are your hopes for the future of MOPS?
I hope it stays and continues, because it is like, it was a really hard choice for me to pass that torch. Why am I going to cry? Because it's like my baby. It is, again, like I found so much love in this group, and it's just something that's just so needed as a mom, and I just hope that it continues and it thrives. And the beautiful Amanda that's taking it over is incredible, and I know she's going to do amazing things, and we're going to rock it out next year, and I can't wait.
Yeah, so. Yeah. If there's a mom listening and she's like, I need this, I want this, what can she do? What steps can she take to find our group or your group, or to find another?
We have a Facebook page. Okay. It's Pearland MOPS. You can DM me on Facebook. I can answer all your questions. You can email me, meagan_KLLY@yahoo.com, and ask me any questions you need about it. But a big place, like if you're like not local to Pearland, maybe you're like moving from somewhere, if you go to mops.org and put in Pearland, Texas, and I think First United Methodist MOPS, it should come up if you put in all that information, so you can find us.
Awesome.
There, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. What's one step you would give to a mom who's in need right now?
Meaning, like, what do you...
What's a step you would suggest for a mom who's, again, looking for connection, feeling alone?
You're not alone, and just do it. Get out there. I know it is hard. Sometimes it's so hard. I have a lot of friends that tell me all the time, I'm only doing this because you told me to, which you should. If somebody tells you to do it, I feel like you should do it. At least try it once. And if you don't like it, that's fine, but at least get out there, and because being a mom, you're not alone. You should never feel that way.
Yeah.
You should always have community. Community helps a lot.
Yeah. I would add, too, that if you are a mom who's in a MOPS or a mom's group, invite a friend.
100%. Always invite a friend.
Invite a friend to come. No matter if it's the middle of the season, whatever.
Absolutely.
Whoever's running the group will figure it out.
100%. I'm always like, we typically meet August through May, and then we kind of break during the summer, but we still do play dates and nights out and stuff like that and continue to support each other. But even if you're like moving from somewhere and you're like, it's in the middle of the semester, because we do 2 semesters, we do spring and we do fall. I'm always like, no, come and check us out. If you don't like us, I'm okay with that. That doesn't hurt my feelings. But at least you did it. At least you tried. And that's all that really matters. So
yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Meagan, so much for coming and sharing. And thank you for tuning in. Once again, we'd love to have you be a part of the conversation. So send your comments to sheleadscomments@gmail.com. Tell me about where you are leading as a mom, where you're hoping to find connection, and maybe just how the episode has inspired and encouraged you today. Until next time, we'll see you then. She Leads is produced by me, Thea Curry-Fuson. Recorded and edited by Pearland Podcast Studios. All thoughts and expressions shared by the guest are theirs and not the organizations they're affiliated with. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out next week to continue the conversation on She Leads.